Assalamu alaikum my dear student, welcome to today's class. I hope all of you are doing well. We are here to do a biology class. Before starting the class, I want to introduce myself. I am Afrina Rahman, a senior teacher of Milestone School and College from Sector 4 branch. In today's class, we are going to learn some topic from chapter 1. I hope after finishing this class, you will able to learn general concept of biology, branches of biology, classification of organism and its necessity, binomial nomenclature, its significance, and basic principles of binomial nomenclature, or how to write a scientific name. So as we want to start from the very beginning, so if you look at your surroundings or environment, you will able to find two type of thing. One is living thing, another one is non-living thing. Biology actually concerned with living things, and physics and chemistry concerned with non-living things. So if you want to give the definition of biology from this perspective, then it will be biology is the branch of scientific knowledge and concerning life and characteristic of living organism. So we can talk about this perspective also. Biology is a term which is derived from two Greek words. One is bios, another one is logos. Bios means life and logos means knowledge. So biology is the fundamental branch of science which deals with life related knowledge. So we have seen two definition of biology, but altogether we can say biology is actually the branch of science which deals with all type of characteristic of living things, their information and their knowledge. Now branch of biology, if you carefully look at the living things, you will able to find two type of living thing, either that is plant or animal. The part of biology which discuss about plant related knowledge is called botany, and the part of biology which discuss about animal related knowledge is called zoology. So the scientist named Theophrastus is considered as the father of botany, and Aristotle is considered as the father of zoology because they play a very important role in case of giving information about these branches. Now this is another branch of biology. If we talk about this side, physical biology is actually the part of biology which concern with theoretical concept, and applied biology is that part of biology which discuss about experimental knowledge or life related knowledge, included experiments. So there are several part of physical and applied biology. You will be able to find this in your books. Now classification. Before going for the classification, I want to say about the aim of classification. There are about 4 million different plant species and 13 million animal species. So it will be very difficult for us to remember them if there is no classification. So the main aim of classification is to know the vast and diverse living world accurately and classify them quickly and easily. There are several scientists who plays a role in classification, but Carolus Linnaeus, R.H. Whittaker and Margulis play a very important role in classification. This is the flowchart of classification. In 1969, R.H. Whittaker divided living world into 5 kingdoms. Kingdom 1 Monera, Kingdom 2 Protista, Kingdom 3 Fungi, Kingdom 4 Plantae and Kingdom 5 Animalia. But in 1974, Margulis improvised this classification a little bit more. She actually included 2 more super kingdoms inside this classification. Super kingdom 1 Prokaryote, which deals with prokaryotic type of cell, and super kingdom 2 Eukaryote, which deals with eukaryotic type of cell. So now this is the overall result of classification. I'm going to talk about individual kingdoms. Let's start. Super kingdom 1 Prokaryote or kingdom 1 Monera. The characteristic of kingdom 1 Monera is they are mostly unicellular. Sometimes they can be filamentous or colonial. Their chief mode of nutrition is absorption. They absorption their nutrition from other bodies or other living things. They divide their cells through binary fission or amitosis. Example of Monera is bacteria, blue-green algae, etc. Now super kingdom 2 Eukaryote and kingdom number 2 Protista. Protista, they are characteristic of Protista, they are mostly unicellular. Sometimes they can be multicellular, individual or colonial. Their chief mode of nutrition can be either absorption, ingestion or photosynthesis. They accomplish their asexual and sexual reproduction by process of mitosis and conjugation. If anyone have any confusion about conjugation, conjugation is actually a process in which union of two gametes occur. And now the examples of examples of Protista, amoeba, then algae. These are the examples of Protista kingdom. Now come to kingdom 3, fungi. Sorry. The characteristic of kingdom 3 is most of them are terrestrial, saprophytic or parasite. Their body is constituted of single cell or mycelium. Their chief mode of nutrition is absorption. They absorb the nutrition from other bodies. They reproduce by haploid spore, and their cell divides through the meiotic cell division. Examples are yeast, penicillium, mushroom, etc. Now, kingdom 4, Plantae. The characteristic of Plantae are they are photosynthetic and eukaryotic, and they are mostly terrestrial, and of course they will be multicellular. Their chief mode of nutrition is photosynthesis. They produce their food by the process of photosynthesis. Their sexual reproduction is angiogamous, which is a sexual reproduction happened by the union of two different type of gametes. An example will be advanced type of green plants. All type of green plants will be included into this kingdom. Now, last kingdom, kingdom 5, Animalia. The characteristic of Animalia is they are eukaryotic and multicellular organism. They are heterotroph, which means they are dependent on another animal for their food. Sorry, they are dependent on another animal for their food. They cannot make their own food. Their reproduction system is sexual reproduction. Example of Animalia will be human, tiger, elephant, etc. Now come to the steps of classification, how we actually do the classification. In classifying the organism, we use different type of units, ranks. There are 7 main taxonomic ranks according to international code. These are kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. So I want to give one example to clarify all of this. This is the scientific name of human. So classification of humans, Homo sapiens. So I'm going to explain kingdom Animalia, which means they are included into Animalia kingdom. Phylum Chordata, which means they have not occurred in one phase of their life. Subphylum Vertebrata. Class Mammalia, which means they feed their young on milk and their body is covered with hair. Order Primate, which means they have 5 fingers on their hand, by the help of which they can grab something. Family Hominidia, which means they are kind of similar with monkey, chimpanzee. Genus Homo, which means they have brain which they use for their activities. And species is Homo sapiens, which is a combination of genus and species, or the scientific name of humans. And they have also included the common name human. So I hope this is clear for you. Now, binomial nomenclature. So what is binomial nomenclature? Binomial nomenclature is actually the system of scientific naming of an organism. So the aim of binomial nomenclature is very important, because without binomial nomenclature we won't be able to clearly identify every organism. Sorry for this disturbance. So we won't be able to identify every organism. So we have to maintain certain rules and give name to each and a specific organism. So for plant, we have to maintain the rule of ICBN, which is International Code of Botanical Nomenclature, and for animal, we have to maintain the code from International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. So this is the basic principle of binomial nomenclature, or the rules of scientific naming. So there are 8 main rules of scientific naming. I'm going to explain one by one. Number 1, the language of scientific naming of an organism would be Latin. So it can be in Latin, but there is no specific rule. It can be in other words, like there is a frog named Jacaranda Dhaka. Jacaranda Dhaka is not a Latin word, but it is fulfilling all the characteristic or condition of scientific naming, so that is included into scientific names, which is actually given by Bangladeshi scientist. So it's better to be in Latin, but it can be another language also. So number 2 rule is every scientific name should have 2 parts. One is genus part, another one is species part. Number 3 is the scientific name of every organism should be unique. The scientific name of 2 organisms cannot be same. Number 4, the first alphabet or the first name would be capital and remaining will be in small type. Sorry. Number 5, at the time of printing scientific name, it should be in italic. But if anyone handwriting the scientific name, it can be in normal letters, but they have to underline 2 parts separately. Now number 7, rules of priority, which is kind of important even for your exam. What rule of priority actually is? If the scientific name of a organism is given by several scientists, the earlier scientist who gave the scientific name will be recognized as the rule of priority. So number 8 and the last rule is the scientist, if the scientist won, they can also add their initials and the year name with the scientific name. For example, Homo sapiens, in case of Homo sapiens, Carolus Linnaeus invented it, so we can add CL and the year 1758 with it. Now this is the examples of some scientific names of some organism. So this is important for you to memorize. It can be like come in CQ and RQ also. RQ and MCQ, for it is also important for MCQ also. So this was the ending of our class. I hope all of you understand today's topic. If you have any confusion, I would suggest to ask teachers, or you can message them or contact with them. So stay home, stay safe.